Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Chemo Man. If you haven't been here before, check out some of my other videos on my channel, and if you like them, give us a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe, that would go a long way in helping me create this channel. I really appreciate your support. Appreciate the comments. Please comment. I love hearing what you have to say. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to out of your day to watch the videos that I have been posting. So I appreciate the private messages too. So it goes a long way. There's a new thing I wanted to do with each video. So this is episode 6. I'd like to start off with a quote. And today's quote is, "Reject the concept of enemies. Just know that we're all emanating from the same divine source." Now, you might have seen a common theme in my videos is I want to bring people together. I want to stop the division that's happening out in society. And I guess that quote kind of relates to that. So, um, yeah, I guess reflection is look at who are we calling enemies, who are we saying that are bad, and how we can how we can see that we're all coming from the same place. The separation, the division doesn't help. We are all coming from the same place. We're all human beings at the end of the day. So just something to think about. Um, Episode 6 I wanted to do on politics. I wrote some stuff down in my journal, and I got some notes here that I'm going to go over, kind of talk about. Um, if I'm currently in Canada, so I wrote this down when the election was happening here just recently, and I saw a lot of things on social media. There was a lot of anger, a lot of indifference, a lot of people that were happy with the results, and I kind of wanted to talk about my experience with politics and how I feel about it. And I'm not an expert. There's a lot of things that I still need to learn, but I'm starting to understand it a little bit more and doing my own research. So, but this is just my opinion. So I was like, I guess I like things from a lot of the parties here in Canada. I like some of the social aspects, the healthcare, strong education, strong economy, energy independence, and fiscal responsibility. I like a bit of both, and I don't feel that there's a party out there that represents my values. Um, I guess I've always had a problem with politics in general because I find it, and it seems to be very divisive and egocentric in the way they debate and the lack of responsibility and accountability. And it kind of bothers me quite a bit. And this comes from all parties. Something that I've seen as part of the system. I feel that politics sometimes feels more like winning an argument or gaining power than actually serving the public. The divisiveness and lack of accountability often leads to more polarization rather than progress. It's not uncommon for me to feel disillusioned by the debates, and it seems like it turns into a battle of egos instead of thoughtful exchange of ideas. And I was writing this as everything was coming to a front, right? It's really tough and heartbreaking when you want to see real solutions, but you feel like those in power aren't really truly pri- prioritizing what is best for everyone. I gave my words. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible for politics to be more collaborative and less divisive. It feels like it's something that's always going to be there in the current system that we have. I think the current system needs to be somewhat dismantled or rearranged. A new system needs to be integrated and implemented. I don't think the current system will ever hold the values of accountability and responsibility that I have. It seems like it's been going on for years and years, and it mirrors exactly what's going on in the world. The issues of accountability and responsibility often seem deeply embedded in the system, and it's frustrating when it feels like nothing changes despite years of the same patterns. The US system has the same issues. As political polarization and focus on party loyalty rather than solutions can often create gridlocks and distrust in leadership. And I think that as I was writing that, it's like that's what it is. And that's what it is across the board in life in general. Is that if someone doesn't show accountability or responsibility, there's this distrust. There's because you're bound they're bound to repeat that pattern if they're not correcting it. And if it never gets checked, it never gets corrected, and you never bring that awareness to that certain pattern, boom, you have this level of distrust, and I do. It would take a major overhaul to shift towards a more collaborative, accountable, and transparent system. But it's definitely an idea that I feel that it could happen. It's something that could happen. I Transparency for me is one of the things that is a really huge one as well. Accountability and responsibility, and then a dialogue of nonviolent approach of communicating between both parties, where the focus is not winning the argument, but to find common ground and to build a bridge of understanding one another on an empathetic level. These would be, I guess, my values, and in a new system, that's what I feel would help, having these new values in my new system that I'm thinking about. I believe they would be a powerful foundation for a new system. Focusing on transparency would help rebuild trust in our institutions, while accountability and responsibility ensure that leaders are held to a high standard. A shift towards empathetic dialogue would completely transform how our debates happen, making cooperation a priority over winning or scoring political points. That one just drives me crazy. You just see it all the time. I don't know if it's as obvious it is to me as it is to all of you out there, but whether you're in the US political system or the Canadian, that one's a huge one for me. It could lead to more thoughtful solutions and reduce the toxic polarization we often see today in our political system across the board. And then I was like, what kind of transformation at smaller or local level do you think it needs to be at a smaller local level, or does it need to be at a national shift to have a real impact? So this new system that I have here that I want, and once again, this is just all my opinion, and this is just, it all came out that one night. But yeah, it's just, I find that a smaller, on a local level, like, you have smaller parties. I've tried smaller parties before. I don't feel like it had much of an impact. So I guess it needs to be more on a national level. Um, yeah, starting on a national level makes sense, especially if the goal is to create a unified framework that can impact all parts of the country. A broader national approach would allow for a systematic change that could influence local policies and encourage a shift in culture of politics itself. It could also inspire people to get involved in politics in a more constructive way, knowing that the focus is on real solutions and not division. And I think that's the thing, is like, if we want to inspire people to vote and and be part of politics and understanding politics, that would inspire people, is knowing that it's the focus is on real solutions and not division, because you see division all the time. It's always one party trying to gain power over another. It's just, I'm better, you're not. I know more, you don't. It's like, it's always I'm right, you're wrong. It's just so primitive. It is the most primitive thing ever, and we have technologies, we have advances in science that are absolutely amazing. But yet, this is the type of dialogue, this is the type of system that we have in our politics, and this is what runs our country on every level. And so you're looking at this primitive way of handling huge areas of our life, and it's done in an egocentric, divisive way where people are trying to just gain power. It's Politics should be about service. If you enter politics, you're serving the public. It's about serving the public, in my opinion, not serving yourself, right? So, or your party. It boggles my mind how that's, yeah. So I guess here, this is some of the things that can be done to try and create a system that is better. Start conversations, build awareness, begin discussing ideas with others, whether it's online or in your community. Social media, blogs, and even podcasts can help spark a broader conversation, and that's what I'm doing here. This is my YouTube channel, so I'm trying to create more conversations. Yeah, and conversations around, there needs to be more transparency, accountability, and create spaces where people can come together and share their thoughts in a non-violent way, and I think would be a huge, powerful step. Now, a non-violent way is where we're addressing the needs, and we're not raising our voices, and we're also listening. We're listening to one another. We're not waiting for our turn. We're not waiting to be right. We're just trying to build a bridge to try and meet in the middle. If that's the goal and the intention in the first place, before you start the conversation, is that we're trying to build a bridge to meet in the middle, to understand one another better. If that's what's set out first, I think, in my opinion, could be really helpful. And then obviously supporting political movements, organizations that align with your values. Look for organizations, movements, independent candidates who support your values, like transparency and accountability. Even if no party fully represents your ideals, supporting those who advocate for the type of political culture that you want is better than nothing. So, yeah. And then I guess advocate for electoral and political reform. Support initiatives that aim to reform political systems. This might include proportional representation, ranked choice voting, or calls for a greater political transparency. These kind of reforms can help reduce the polarizing effects of the current first past the post system and allow for more diverse voices and viewpoints. And then get involved in local government. So this is kind of some of the things. Create and join movements of ethical leadership. Collaborate with thought leaders or academics and focus on education. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get educated about all of this. Yeah, and yeah, I know it's a lot, but I think that's one of the things that has always, every time an election comes around, people ask me if I'm going to vote, and I just feel like, does it doesn't really feel like nothing's happening. Every time I vote, I feel, I guess I don't feel aligned with any party that we have here. And so, because of the important values that I have, they just don't match up, because this system is, it's flawed. You have a system where you go to the parliament and people are just shouting at each other, and one's making jokes and one's trying to make the other one look bad, and it's just like, it's so immature, it's so primitive, and people think that's okay. I couldn't believe it. I like, was watching a whole parliamentary session, and I'm like, this is how people talk to each other who run our country? I'm just like, what is like, wow. Like it just I'm truly shocked every time it happens. And so um yeah, I I feel very lost. I feel very um disappointed with the political system that we have now, and I'm also grateful for everything that we have too here in this country. Um, I should have said that from the beginning. And like I said, I'm no expert, and I am grateful for the things I have in this country. But at the same time, like it seems like a it seems like a really simple, conversation to have about responsibility, accountability, transparency, empathy. These values should be at the core of our political system, because if they were, in my opinion, I feel it would solve a lot of the issues that we have, and it would help us understand one another even more, and we would become closer as a human race. We'd come closer, and ultimately I feel there would be a level of awareness and vibration, a level of ascendance in our evolution as a human species, if we use these principles. And I feel like we're just stuck in that one mode, and I just thought I'd say something about it. So that's kind of my 2 cents. I think it's really important that we question our egos, and be like, well, maybe I was wrong, or maybe maybe I overstepped. I don't really understand what the big deal is in taking responsibility. I don't know why it runs so rampant across our society in every little aspect. It's so hard to find someone who will be like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's my bad. I as a leader in this organization, or in this business, or in this relationship, please let me take some responsibility. Let me see. Okay, yeah, yeah." It feels like it destroys a person when they do it. It feels that's how they get scared, so scared of taking responsibility, is they feel like the whole world's going to crash in on them, and they were wrong, And maybe it's that, maybe it's that society has put such a big, you know, black marker on being wrong, failing. There's nothing wrong with failing. Pick up and you do it again. It's actually a really good learning tool to fail. So it's not a bad word, failure. It's not. It's more of like relearn it, and try it again, kind of thing. It's not as bad as it's made out to be. So um, yeah, it's across the board. You look at it in every facet of our lives. So I remember this one time I was dealing with this doctor for my mom back like 7 years ago, and my mom was not at an advanced stage of dementia. She was in the beginning stages, and this doctor would just walk right into her room, which had a door and a lock on it, but she couldn't lock it. She had to leave it open, and he would just walk right in there without knocking, and be like, "Oh, how you doing, Therese?" And she could be like half naked, getting changed, and it's like, that's not cool. Like, give her some time to come to the door. She'll come to the door. It might take a little longer. It might take about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, but let her come to the door and she will open it. She does it every time. Just give her the time. And he would walk in on her, and sometimes she would be naked. Sometimes she would be changing. Sometimes she'd be getting out of the bathroom. Who knows? It's her private suite. It's supposed to be honored. And I brought it up with him, and he did not care. He did not care. He did not take responsibility. He thought he had the right to just walk in there because he's the doctor. And there was just no insight as to how that would be disturbing for her or the family, knowing that he just walks in right in there. And yeah, so just I had to sit down and talk to him, and even talking to him at a table, he still didn't get it. He rather take his position of authority and dismissed everything I had to say and just ignored me. And I was just like, wow, your ego is really just massive right now, just overshadowing you. So these massive egos that run our society, that's what's happening in our political system. So I know I got off track by there, but I got so many examples of where even when you ask someone to take responsibility and you point out something that is not right, in their eyes they think it's right, but he's not taking the moment or the time to use empathy and to be like, oh yeah, I can see, yeah, that me walking in on a naked woman in her own private suite, even though I'm a doctor, I should give her a chance to open the door, and the family's requested that like 5 or 6 times already, and I've ignored that. So at the end of the day, right, you can't force someone to be accountable or take responsibility. But if we work on it at the if we use that as a foundational level to teach our young ones, and to start teaching this broadly across society, and if it's reflected in our political system and big institutions, then it will influence people, and people will start, I think, taking responsibility and being accountable, and also using empathetic energy to want to build that bridge to meet in the middle, to want to understand one another. You might not agree with everything. He might not agree on what I said, that doctor, but if he could try and understand it, it's a first step, isn't it? I feel. Anyways, I'm still getting new to this whole podcast and YouTube. Bear with me. It was a little bit choppy this time. I'm getting better, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it brought some insights, made you think about some things a little bit differently. But this is something I'm passionate about. Not really politics itself, but the values for a new system of accountability, transparency, responsibility, and nonviolent communication, and empathy. Those, I feel, would be a really good foundation for a new political system. And if we had that across the board, man, I feel there would be some major shifts in how our society operates. So, in my opinion, anyways, a higher level of consciousness. Anyways, all I can do is keep working on this stuff, keep working on myself, and working with all of you. And thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It means a lot to me. And stay tuned for some more real talk. I have some more episodes coming up soon. So lots of love.